All right. Thank you for joining us. This is Christal Jordan with Rolling Out, and I am in the home of Republican Senator candidate Herschel Walker. First of all, thank you so much for welcoming us to your home today.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you for coming over.
Absolutely. We're here in Georgia. Beautiful
Yes.
area here in Atlanta, Georgia. First of all, it's absolutely beautiful here. Beautiful time of year.
Yes.
How long have you been here in
Uh,
Atlanta?
it's weird. We've had this home here for about 17 years.
Okay.
We've had this home here in Atlanta about 17 years, but I grew up in Middle Georgia, which is sort of about 2.5 hours away, and that's where my mom is at. And we've had a house there almost 20 years there as well. So what was strange is I sit on a board of hotels, and so when I come back to Atlanta, I hardly ever came back to this house because I stay at the hotel because I'm not that I'm lazy. I didn't want to clean up. You know, you open up a house, you have to fix it up and do all this. So it's easy to stay at a hotel and not come to the house. So I said that's a little better.
Yeah, well, you definitely, it's a beautiful, beautiful home, and you truly are a Georgia boy.
Oh yes, I am. I'm Georgia born, Georgia bred, and when I die, I'll be Georgia dead. Yes.
That tagline. Well, you know, we're here because of the race and to hear a little bit more about your perspective. So I want to thank you for welcoming us here for that. But, you know, the first question I think of when I think of you is you are a football legend. You're an icon, Heisman Trophy winner here with Georgia Bulldogs. We know that you had an extensive, very decorated career in the NFL, and you have one of those franchise names that people recognize, right? Yes. So with all that behind you, what made you decide to pursue politics? Because you could have went on into, you know, people loved you, they loved what you did for the state. What made you decide to do politics at this time of your life?
Well, I'm gonna tell you, as I told my mom, you know, I've been very blessed in my life. I've been very blessed. I was one of those kids that wasn't supposed to make it. You know, I started out overweight. My mom said I was big bone. I started out with a speech impediment, so for years I never spoke in a classroom. People didn't even think I could speak. And I overcame and got a scholarship to go to college, and I know the Lord has helped me so much. And as I told my mom, and I told her, I said, Mom, I hate to tell you, I think I'm gonna have to run for the Senate seat. And my nickname is Bo, and she said, Bo, are you sure of this? I said, Mom, I answer someone far greater than man right now. And she said, you know, it's gonna be hard. I said, I know, but my life has been hard. And there's no way I can turn back when I see my fellow men hurting. When I see a country hurting, and if I can do something to change or to help, how could I sit on the sideline? And I said, I don't know if I can sleep at night if I sit on the sideline and I see people hurting.
Did you have, were you interested and involved in politics before? Were you following politics prior to this?
Well, I've followed politics, but I was never interested in politics. You know, like I tell people, I'm not a politician. I'm never going to be a politician. I know right from wrong. You know, I was raised in the church, you know, I've had my faults, and I've gotten up from them. I've been redeemed. I've done so many things, I've been blessed, but politics was the farthest thing from my mind because, you know, people just talk about me in football, but, you know, I've been very fortunate in the business world. I've been very fortunate in my military career that I was doing a lot of things with the military, and I just said that, so I never would have thought about politics ever.
Okay. So, and when you did decide to come into politics, you chose to be a member of the Republican Party, right?
Yes.
So there's a lot of people that are suggesting that you're being used by the Republican Party to kind of work against your own community. And I know you've heard that.
Yes, I hear that a lot. And
What
you know, that's pretty easy to say is what community is saying I'm working against. Because I said the thing is because I have freedom of thought. You know, my freedom of thought is to help everybody. You know, it's got nothing to do with color, and then, you know, and that's what I remember when I was 16, something happened. And my mother said my mom and dad said there's no color in right and wrong. And my thing is to do right by everyone, and it doesn't matter what color you are. And I said, we're a melting pot in this country. And I think that's the problem that we have is right now we're so divided that we're fighting that no one is listening to everyone. No one seems to want to listen. Yeah. And I said, we need to stop for a moment and start listening. Because if we don't do that, we're going to become something we don't want to become. You know, I've seen other worlds. I've traveled to other places where I can tell people that they don't want to live. They don't want to live in Venezuela right now. Venezuela is one of the most beautiful places you ever could visit. Right now, it's terrible. You know, when you go to those other places, you don't want to live in those places. So I said, we got to have freedom of thought. And, you know, in my communities, I said that, you know, I fight for all community because I think everyone should have the right to have their freedom of thought. Everyone should have the right to have a good education. Everyone should have the right to be protected, to feel safe. And but we've elected for over years the wrong person to the table negotiating the deal.
Yeah.
And if that is not true, we'll be better off than where we are right now. And that's the reason I decided to run. I said, right now we put the wrong people at the table making the deal, and we're where we're at right now. So maybe it's time to put someone at the table that don't dance and sing for no one, because I don't do that.
Yeah. Let me ask you this, because I know your platform, you've been consistent with that is about, you know, a better Georgia, a more unified Georgia. But we've had so much, especially during the pandemic, right? The climate here became very polarized. We had African American men and women being killed, you know, senselessly by the police. So much that was racially charged. Are we able to move forward if we don't acknowledge that we do have issues, you know, that need to be worked out when it comes to race, when it comes to economics? You know, a lot of that does fall back in those situations. So are we able to move forward if we don't acknowledge those issues?
Oh, there's no doubt. We can move forward. You got to acknowledge those issues. That's the same as I tell people all the time. History is something that's very interesting. And I say, guys, you want to teach black history, you want to teach all history in the United States of America. But you also want to acknowledge the problem, but you also want to try to move forward, not continue to stay in the same place. And I said, we continue to want to stay in the same place without moving forward. You acknowledge the problems we have. But all police officers are not bad, same as in any other industry. All of them are not bad. But what we do is we continue to stay there, and instead of making it better. Because you know, one of the things I said a long time ago, and I'm not taking this from Tim Scott, because you know, like I said, I'm not a politician. He said education is an equalizer. The question I ask is, why are we not giving in our community, as you say, our community, black community, an education? Why are we not giving them an education? Because you know, I started a company, and I hate to go off subject, but I started a company, and I remember they said, oh, when I got up to a certain point, they said, you're a minority-owned business. And I'm like, what does that mean? They said, you're black. I said, okay, then what does that mean? Okay, you're going to fill out all this paperwork. Well, while I was filling out paperwork, all the business was going over there to these other people. And I'm like, wait a minute, I don't want to be a minority-owned business. I want to be over there with them. So I got put over there. And then I said, you know what I got to do is help the people back over here. So I educated myself, so now I can go back and help people over here and say, no, this is what we want to do. Well, it seemed like everybody that have had an opportunity to go over there didn't reach back to help no one else. And I said, that's the problem we have. We're not holding people accountable for what they say that they're going to do. They go to Washington and they say they're going to do this, but they don't do it. Otherwise, I wouldn't have to run.
Right.
And that's why I told people, and I said, guys, people don't understand me. And you can ask anyone over time about Herschel Walker. They'll tell you, I don't dance and sing for nobody. I go at my own pace, what I think is right. Because I said, as I told my mom, I answer to someone far greater than man.
Yeah, I agree with that. You work for someone greater. Were you surprised, though, to see some of the things that we saw during COVID, some of the killings, and I mean, it just, I think because we were all sitting down,
Yes.
we were watching. But were you surprised to see some of that? Because I know being Herschel Walker, right?
Yes.
Even though you know what's happening, you're a celebrity, you are a praised athlete. So do you think that seeing some of the killings that were happening to people driving while black, was it a shock to you?
Well, I was surprised to see a lot of things happen in COVID. And I think you just said driving while black, but there was a lot of other killings that was happening as well. You know, let's not forget the black on black crimes that would happen. Let's not forget a lot of other things that were happening, even today. And I said, that's the problem we have. Crime is up. I don't care what color you are. Crime is up. Right now, people don't even want to go to the mall here in Atlanta because of crime. And I said, crime is up. And I said, because of COVID. But, you know, I said that's one of the things that we have to do. We have to put people that's ready to fight to stop this, that's ready to fight to call things what they are. You know, I'm not afraid to talk about racism, but I'm not afraid to talk about other things as well. But that's the way you bring things together. A house divided cannot stand.
Right.
And I said, that's what we have right now. We have a house divided. We can't make it like this.
Right.
And I said, that's the problem we have. And I said, you know, I talk about this. I said, you know, think about this. A lot of shows that you used to see years ago. In Living Color. In Living Color, incredible show. We all used to laugh. Today that show couldn't be on air.
That's true.
Think about Archie Bunker. You know, that show couldn't be on air. And I said, so that means we're going backwards.
Yeah.
Aren't we supposed to be going forward?
Right.
Well, let's try to continue to go forward, but we keep going backwards. And I said, guys, because we got the wrong people that's willing to fight to go forward. Well, I'm willing to fight to go forward. I'm willing to fight to go forward, and that's the reason I say I'm going to run. I'm not going to just sit back and let them destroy any community, whether it's black community, white community, Jewish community. I say, guys, we're a melting pot. We're a melting pot. That's what made America beautiful. Do we have all problems? Yes, we have problems. We have a lot of problems, but we solve those problems together.
Right.
And people remember 9/11. 9/11 when we were under attack. It didn't matter about your color, your skin. It didn't matter about anything, but mattered we were under attack. And I say, I think God blessed me that, you think about this. 10 years, almost 10 years before I came to Georgia, the first black players played at the University of Georgia. Think about that. 10 years before I got there, the first black, five, they came to Georgia. Well, all of a sudden, I won a Heisman Trophy 13 years after they been there. A black man from Wrightsville won a Heisman Trophy. Within years after that, people don't know the first black AD in the SEC was hired at the University of Georgia. And people forget about that. And us guys, that's moving forward. Yeah. But what have to happen though, is the person that in that position have to do the right thing so we can bring other people along. I remember watching the movie Jackie Robinson. And I said, Jackie Robinson, being the baseball player that stepped out there and they were throwing baseball at his head. They were trying to hit him with the ball. And I remember he went into the locker room crying. And the owner came in there and he said, Jackie, Jackie, you got to stop it. He said, you buck up, he said, because you are going to stand for every other player to get an opportunity to play. And that's what got to happen. Some people got to stand so other people can move forward, so we can move the baton forward. Yeah. Well, it seems like we've had great leaders in the African-American community, but have anyone come after them to move that baton forward? I mean, what I mean by that is people always tell me about the black players. Well, where's the black owners? Where's you going to fight for that? In the athletic world, like black businesses. We got a lot of black millionaires in the athletic world. Why are we not coming together to build big businesses, own television stations, to own our own community, to put money back in those communities?